Hi students, I am Dr. Anurag Agarwal and this is OSN Academy of English since 1998. Students, I hope you are all doing well in this pandemic period. The examination is postponed, so we have a lot of time to cover up the course, to finish up, and those students who are getting late, they may not worry because ultimately they have a lot of time again at their disposal. So students, today I have taken a chapter for you to make you understand that those students who are preparing in their graduation, post-graduation, any examination like UGC NET, PGT, DSSSB, TGT or IAS mains, PCS mains, any type of literature examinations, always remember that you have to start with the history of English literature, which is the pulse of all the English scholars and the achievements. Your excellence only will be marked once you are acknowledged scholar of history of English literature. Then all the things will come after that. Always I have been telling this in things students in my YouTube channel and in my classes also, which is running pan-India online. The 5th batch has already started on 27th of May. The new batch again is going to start on 20th of June, students. So all those aspirants for IAS mains, for PCS, for UGC NET, for PGT may take the admission if they feel that yes, OSN Academy is for them, and if they feel connected with Dr. Agarwal and my classes and they feel that yes, here they can nurture themselves, here they can become a lot fertile by their English experience, by their English thirst for knowledge. Coming to the point, students, the 14th century England, that is the age of Chaucer, you have to know the background of it. So, coming to the point, students, the age of Chaucer, which covers the period of 1340 to 1400, where the principal events, the trends, the movements of this age are considered, are always calculated in 4-5 different menus. First is the political, the social, the economic, the religious, as well as the other literary spheres, which we will be taking into account. And because of this only, we will be able to judge the background of Chaucer's life and his works. The first most important point to be noted and to be discussed here is war and France. What is the role of war? What is the role of France in this period? So we all know that Edward III, who was one of the great monarchs of England, who ruled for more than 50 years, he had a lot of ambitions. He had a lot of territorial ambitions. And because of this ambition, the 100 Years' War began. And this 100 Years' War began in 1338 between two places, that is between England and France. And in this course, is Dauran of this war, Edward III secured English supremacy and also won the Battle of Sluys in 1340. He also won the Battle of Crecy. His son Edward won the Battle of Poitiers. इसीलिए इसको साथ में कहते हैं Battle of Crecy and Poitiers. Fine. And you will also come to know about a lot of foreign trade, students. What is foreign trade? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody has come across that what is foreign trade in the age of Chaucer, in the age of Edward III? In this, I would like to tell you that Edward III realized after some time that it was a very, very important task. It was a very important duty of the government to foster foreign trade. कि foreign trade को हम बढ़ाएं, कैसे बढ़ाएं? And the chief export of that time was raw wool. And there was a name of the city known as Calais, C-A-L-A-I-S. So when Calais became an English possession in 1347, Edward III, who was the ruler that time, made that city the sole center for foreign sales. और ये order कर दिया that all the wool should be shipped either in the English ships. So what happened with this? With this promotion, with this export, with this, he helped to promote the growth of 2 or more national industries. का promotion automatic हो गया. And the first is shipbuilding and the second is seafaring. And the other branch of the wool industry, that is the manufacture of cloth. Wool से क्या होता है बेटा? Side product क्या है? Side product is cloth. And this manufacturing of the cloth also began to make its position in England in this era. Now, continuing with this lecture, the third point which comes under consideration to acknowledge Edward III is nothing but chivalry, bravery. And we all know that Edward's reign marks the highest development of medieval civilization in England. And it was also, we can say, the midsummer of English chivalry. Although several changes in the life and thought of the people were taking place because a lot of developments were done, lot of things were happening, lot of projections were done, people were coming, the middle class was growing, the churches were there, so many things were there, John Gower, Wycliffe and Chaucer, William Langland, they were the contemporaries of Chaucer. So we have to acknowledge all these things, students, but not before understanding the concept of the 14th century England. And apart from all these things, the most important thing which happened, that is the negative, that is the Black Death. So I just told you, students, that Crecy and Poitiers, who were supposed to be one of the most glorious events in the reign of Edward III, but always remember that the most epoch-making of all was nothing but the Black Death. And what was Black Death? It was a pestilence which swept all over Europe and reached England in 1348. There have been epidemics before also, and this outbreak of 1348-49 was the ever worst that befell in England. You will be surprised to know, students, that villages and villages were wiped out altogether, and the London graveyards had no space left. All over desolation, all over chaos, and nearly half of the people died in England because of this Black Death. इसको Black Death इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि black boils body में आ जाते हैं which causes death, इसलिए इसका नाम है Black Death. And you know, students, that 2 centuries passed before the population of the country again rose to the same level where it had left in 1348. Now, listen it very carefully, students, because this is a very important lecture, and maybe you not have read all these things, maybe you must have not acknowledged from your reading books and preparation of any exams, because this concept has to be very clear. So, students, whenever you take admission in my classes, you are taught in this way, and if you feel that yes, this is the right way, this is the experienced way, you must get into the system and nurture yourself with the best. Coming to the next point is known as the Statute of Laborers. What is known as the Statute of Laborers? देखिए, आपको याद होगा कि Black Death के बाद एक बहुत बड़ी problem आई थी, that was the problem of laborers, and that laborer problem caused the peasants revolt, क्योंकि हमारे पास laborers की कमी हो गई थी, and nearly all the laborers who had escaped the plague left the country. जो बच गए थे उन्होंने उस country को छोड़ दिया, and labor was basically so expensive that the crop were even left to wither. इतना expensive था laborers कि लोगों ने कहा कि ठीक है, crop को छोड़ दीजिए, इतना पैसा कहाँ है कि उसको हम ठीक कराएं, उसको हम कटवा करके रखवाएं. So the crops were left to wither, open, and so what happened? The price of the food rose 4-fold, 4 गुना बढ़ गया, and black marketing started. So this evil started, and to check this evil, students, Parliament बीच में आ गया, and Parliament in 1351 passed a Statute of Laborers. And what was this statute? This statute says that the Parliament compelled workmen to accept the wages in the use before the plague. जो use में था उसको आप accept करिए, and it was supplemented by a second statute in 1353. And this statute says that it was forbidden laborers to quit. मतलब उसमें क्या कहा? Forbidding laborers to quit the localities in which they worked. So first statute ये था, second statute ये था, and landlords were compelled to pay higher wages lest they should get no crops at all. So what happens, students? So this is a chronological development to understand the 14th century England. Once you understand this chronological development, social, political, economical, religious wise, then once you go into the poet details like Chaucer and his works and his three parts, French, Italian and English, then you will have the basic knowledge. The last point which I want to discuss with you here is Wycliffe's attacks on the English church. What was the role of Wycliffe, though you must have read and he is a great name? How he attacked on the English church. See students, the statutes which was made were mainly designed to protect the English clergy. कोई भी statute क्यों बनता है? किसी चीज को protect करने के लिए. So these statutes were designed to protect the English clergies from being unduly dominated by the head of the church. And who is the head of the church? Pope. उससे बचाने के लिए ऐसे statutes बनते हैं. But students, there had been long a feeling of dissatisfaction. बहुत समय से एक proper dissatisfaction आ चुका था with the clergy themselves. And the church had grown enormously wealthy. They had become so rich, so wealthy, so desirable, and because of this, a lot of people were getting attracted towards becoming clergymen and having no claim of respect because they had all the greed for power, for money, for luxuries. And some of the monasteries were badly run. The friars were no longer getting into the holy things, and the bishops, the deans, even the people who had the higher post, they used to live a luxurious life, devoting themselves mainly to the less privileged things and focusing more on these things rather than on holy things. And this feeling was now focused by the preachings of John Wycliffe, who emerged as the chief adversary and assailant of the church. So in this way, students, this is a summarization which I wish to project to all of you students, that in this way we get to teach in the online video classes, age by age, chapter by chapter, poets by poets, and in all the world of literature, maybe British, maybe American, maybe African, maybe Canadian, maybe Australian, maybe literary theory, maybe criticism. And every batch has its predefined syllabus. So those students who wish to join the particular syllabus, they will get the particular syllabus, but the history of English literature should always be the best. So students, if you like, you may contact OSN Academy, you can join us, you can WhatsApp us, and you can even subscribe the channel and like the button so that you may get the notification whenever I come live. Thank you so much students. Take care.